To us wrestling nerds, it seems like WWE is a complete mess right now. Paul wants this, Dwayne wants that, with tequila link in bio on the beach.
Hey, let's do this.
The final boss's work is done.
Ooh, Hollywood producer, 5 more movies in the jungle for next 4 years? Let me think about that, jabroni. Yeah, I can tease 4 more matches with Cody and Roman and don't do it. False promises? I'll just send them Travis Scott! People have a ton of wild WWE news. Disappointing Seth Rollins faction news, Logan Paul and Stone Cold Steve Austin beef, WWE killing kayfabe, WWE getting cancelled, some Backlash stuff, so much more, all on that on Greatness of Wrestling. People, I think this is gonna be the spiciest Greatness of Wrestling episode so far. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe if you already didn't. We talk about wrestling, we express our opinions with trying to be reasonable. I think I'm doing a pretty decent job of that, you know? I'm telling you like it is. If it sucks, it sucks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If I see overreactions, I call it out, people. I call it out. You know, it sucks to be a wrestling fan nowadays. You're trying to interact with the fan base, but it's almost impossible. Whether it's a WWE nerd, AEW nerd, they talk about the company they don't watch more than the stuff they actually enjoy. I love AEW so much, WWE is the only company I talk about. First of all, I want to talk about this faction, which is obviously the most interesting thing in the WWE right now, but Fightful Select knows that WWE hasn't intended for Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and Braun Breaker to be compared to any past stable. That's literally impossible in professional wrestling, but go on. They also say there are no plans to add any new members as of this time. This is very disappointing in my opinion. Not only it would be a great opportunity to build more talent, this does necessarily seem like a faction, and because Paul Heyman is not wrestling, unfortunately, maybe one day. But you know, adding somebody to that faction adds instant aura to that superstar. Now, obviously, a lot of speculation. Obviously, it could change. It could literally change because WWE clearly are seeing that the fans are, you know, asking for new members. I mean, Triple H spends the majority of his day on Twitter. Stephanie, look at that shit. AEW Defender 69 said, our main event sucked. I keep telling you, it should be Austin Theory. Let me give you that explanation, people. Let me give you that explanation. Why are you judging? Austin Theory and Seth Rollins already have a lot of history. He got a hair transplant, didn't he? You know what? I think it's still possible because on Monday Night Raw, during a commercial, I believe, we saw Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Grayson said, I got a singles match on Raw, finally, and Austin Theory had no idea. Obviously, this tease of this breakup has been going on for like a year or two right now. I remember making a video, Austin Theory is turning face, and that was like a year ago. So I think it's still possible. I've been very critical of WWE's booking of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Just a couple of jobbers who are here to take bumps from wrestlers, from celebrities, from your son, kid, wife, whatever. If the whole point is to build the future, Braun Breaker is not enough. We need more members, and in my opinion, it needs to be Austin Theory. Or somebody from NXT, you know, I'm not watching the product, so maybe there's someone who really fits into that faction. Also, WrestleVote says Roman Reigns is scheduled to return to WWE in early June. You know what that means, people? You know what that means? Backlash is happening on May 10th. This means the tag team match is not happening, unfortunately, and a lot of people already have so many problems with this card. We'll talk about that, but people, I've heard reports of Punk working every PLE except when WWE will travel to Saudi. I think we'll get an angle. Good God almighty, CM Punk's career over. I mean, you probably remember that tweet. So something must happen. As the hottest thing in the WWE right now, they need to be at Backlash. So I'm thinking maybe Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins, maybe Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn, maybe Braun versus somebody or Seth versus somebody who, you know, respects Sami Zayn. Maybe it's Jimmy Uso, you know, whoever is friends with Sami Zayn, and that's when we will get that CM Punk involvement. People, this is going to be a very, very long story, and that makes me believe we are getting new members. You know, I don't believe these rumors. Maybe WWE are not intending it right now. Maybe they'll change their minds, but I believe all of this one day is leading to War Games. And just like I told you, this match seems too big to be on Backlash. Obviously, as a fan, as a viewer, I don't think that way, but I'm thinking like WWE, they probably want to save it for a big premium live event. let's talk about Logan Paul and Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is so stupid, and that's why we're talking about it. Logan Paul offered Stone Cold Steve Austin to be a prime bottle at WrestleMania for $1 million. First of all, the balls. The balls on that dude to actually offer something so stupid to one of the most badass human beings on the planet. Stone Cold, that's like going up to the Undertaker and being like, yo dude, wanna be a prime bottle at WrestleMania during my entrance? The fuck? You can tell Logan Paul didn't watch WWE that much, you know, he doesn't understand these characters. I do see a funny moment. It could have worked, which is crazy. It's stupid, but I do see a spot where Stone Cold Steve Austin is coming out as a prime bottle. We don't even know it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then after Logan Paul wins the match, he removes the mask. Stunner. You know, that's kind of fun. But it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, people. But Stone Cold Steve Austin responded, and he wasn't too happy.
If he said that, you know, I'm not going to call him a liar. And I just thought that was kind of personal business. But so since it's out there, yeah, I turned it down. I'm in the beer business. I sell Broken Skull beer.
Man, Stone Cold Steve Austin has so much aura, and you know, I do feel like that was kind of disrespectful. He should have called Stone Cold Steve Austin or texted before, you know, revealing the stuff, because, you know, he's an old-timer. You gotta respect that shit. You know what, people? I feel like Logan Paul owes Stone Cold Steve Austin an apology. At this point, I feel like Logan Paul has a list of apologies he owes to people. Obviously, we don't know in which tone it was told, but, you know, going up to Stone Cold Steve Austin and offering him $1 million, like he's some kind of a... Come on, dude. One of the biggest problems we have in the WWE is how often they try to break kayfabe as much as possible. Going back to that Rock response on Instagram, just know that wrestling is fake. Don't you ever forget about that. While you're watching it, keep in mind this is all fake, even though the whole point, what wrestling is built on, is suspending your disbelief. If I'm watching a movie, I keep telling you this, I don't want to see a green screen. Let me imagine that this is real ass shit I'm watching, okay? But from The Rock telling people, remember it's fake, and WWE having a new show on Netflix, which basically is going to be WWE's documentary series, I guess, on them actually working on these storylines, which, in a way, hear me out, is one of the most interesting things I've ever seen WWE produce. Obviously, as a wrestling nerd, it's interesting. It's somewhat even more interesting than the product itself, like listening to wrestling stories, seeing the backstage shit. Like for us wrestling fans, that's exciting. On the other hand, isn't it a bit too much? Isn't it a bit too much? Let us suspend our disbelief. Let me keep guessing. I like the idea of hearing rumors and trying to come to that conclusion myself. Do I believe that shit? Or Dave Meltzer felt a little bit grumpy? But let me switch sides for a second. A lot of fans are now claiming, oh my god, the crowd are reacting differently to Seth Rollins chanting his name even though he destroyed Sammy because they just killed kayfabe. People, kayfabe's been dead for like 20 years at least. It's not gonna change a damn thing. People know it's scripted. Like, in what fantasy world are you living? For years and years now, people are part of kayfabe, the fans. Most of the time, when they respect somebody, they boo because it's the fun thing to do. Why do you think they boo Dominic Mysterio? They don't really believe Dominic actually turned on his deadbeat. They suspend their disbelief and participate almost as if they are a kayfabe audience. So, you know, I hate overreaction, and you're going to hear a lot about that during this video. I agree that WWE are doing it way too much, and it's almost like calling us stupid in a way, but this idea that kayfabe was so alive before Triple H and The Rock is so stupid. You probably heard about Roast of WrestleMania and how many fans are trying to, I guess, cancel WWE or whatever. I'm getting some hot water today. Look, me, you, most people, we have the same values. We support the same stuff. We're trying to be good people. This is my pet peeve, people. I hate when you're trying to cancel shit over jokes. Offensive, or not. While there are definitely exceptions, this is called a roast of WrestleMania. A private event that wasn't televised, wasn't on, Peacocks or Netflix or any other platform. Just a private event of WWE telling offensive jokes. Were they funny? Probably not. We have the same stuff in Lithuania, and people producing these shows are some of the nicest human beings on the planet. Think of it this way. You're not actually being, phobe or ist or whatever. You're just trying to say the most absurd thing possible. Obviously, you can counter that point by saying, well, you shouldn't spread these kind of messages to the world. And that's what I'm trying to tell you, they didn't. It was a private event. You're not actually supposed to hear the stuff that was said. I don't know, man, maybe it's my toxic trait. I just feel like it's such a loser behavior to find the leaked audio and make 59 tweets of what was said and why it's offensive. Maybe I have a different point of view because I'm a comedy guy. I think TheGreaTone is a good example. He says the most absurd, dumbass shit, but he's joking. He doesn't actually feel that way. I'll say this though. I didn't see a lot of it, I only seen a couple of clips. They did say something offensive about Jinder Mahal, and I think that's unfair because he wasn't there to clap back. That's the biggest problem I have. Let's talk about Backlash. The general opinion is the worst WWE card in years. Is Jey Uso versus Logan Paul really that interesting? Not necessarily. I don't mind it though. They don't really have a lot of time to build these papers. The biggest problem is that, this pay-per-view is happening way too soon. This is a dick move to say, but in a way I'm interested in this match because I want to see how bad can it actually get. I kinda get why this match is happening though. The biggest babyface versus the biggest heel. What really sucks right now on Raw is that not a lot of people actually care about the World Heavyweight Championship, but I feel like we need to be a little bit more patient. I feel like Seth Rollins will eventually win that World Heavyweight Championship. He'll probably take it from Jey, and then we'll get these major storylines. My concern is that Jey Uso's championship title reign is going to be really underwhelming. It's a meme at this point. I get people are excited, but the eating shit, it's so basic. I'm not saying he needs to stop doing that or change the gimmick, but the idea that I'm going to make an entrance, the music stops, then I'll climb the top rope, the music continues, and I'm still eating. I feel like this is beyond cheap pop. I think it's an overreaction, but I get it. We don't really like Logan. I understand. I don't agree with criticism on Pat McAfee versus Gunter. I feel like this shit's exciting. Cancel me. I feel like it's exciting. I think a lot of people are seeing it in a very simplistic way. Gunter is one of the greatest professional wrestlers right now. Pat McAfee is a celebrity. This sucks. Oh my god, this is so unfair for Gunter. I'm seeing Pat McAfee standing up for Michael Cole. Gunter is a menace. He moved from attacking wrestlers to even commentators. He's suspended. And the beast is going to be unleashed on Backlash. The idea of Gunter making his return after being suspended because of this douche and beating the living crap out of him with no remorse, that's how I see this match, building Gunter as this monster. Let's say WWE booked Gunter versus another great wrestler instead. Finn Balor. Is the match gonna be better? Absolutely, but it's very usual, and this is something you don't really expect. It's hard for me to explain, but I do see potential. I do see storytelling. But people, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. With peace and love.
The final boss's work is done.